Hello and welcome back to Everything Tumbler Tutorials. My name is Rebecca Escott and today we're going to be working on a very fun Milk Bath 2.0. I'm going to be using the Spectrum dye from Counterculture DIY, a sublimated tumbler which I've already sanded down, and the foil which is gold and pink for this Valentine project today. So I really cannot wait to check out the rest of these awesome looking colors from the Spectrum Dye Collection, but today we're only going to be working with the white to give us that milky bath effect on this tumbler. I also want to mention that if you do not have sublimation tumblers, that's perfectly fine. Obviously you can use a stainless steel which will work just as well. Just spray paint the tumbler white before you get started. So once you have your epoxy mixed up, and I am going to go ahead and use the Fast Set from Counterculture DIY. I went ahead and got everything mixed up, and here I'm going to go ahead and add in the dye right away and stir that up really well, and then I'm going to add in bits from my foil sheets into the mixture of epoxy. As for adding the foils into your epoxy, you can use more or less per your desired effect. Once you have both of your foil sheets added to your epoxy and stirred up really well, we're ready to go ahead and immediately apply it to the tumbler. So I decided to keep this clip of me applying the epoxy in real time. Most importantly, so that you could see that the foils mixed in with the epoxy and how it actually cooperates and spreads over the tumbler perfectly and almost as even as you can get. It also gives you a really close view as to how the milk bath epoxy appears, if that makes sense. So now we're going to go ahead and continue to apply the remaining bits of our epoxy onto the tumbler. And as with any epoxy tumbler, make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see. So once this epoxy coat was completely cured, I did need to go in and sand down some of the foil bits that were sticking up, and then I went ahead and re-epoxied it before moving on to the decal step. I really hope you're enjoying this video, and if so, please like and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials coming soon. And don't forget to click the bell to get notifications for every time I launch a new video. Now that our tumbler is fully cured, we are now ready to go ahead and place our clear cast decal. So during my playback, I noticed in this particular clip that I found myself out of frame. I really apologize for being out of frame on that, but I know you guys have seen me place these clear cast decals many times. I do just want to remind you that make sure that when you place a clear cast decal, your tumbler is clean, sanded, and re-epoxied. Otherwise, you will see the scratch marks. So I decided to use this Valentine pattern from AB Designs. I believe the number on the website is 1747, and I decided that I was just going to take and cut out the hearts that I wanted to use. And I chose this design because it looks like it does inside the hearts. It has like foil chunks or nuggets, if you will, and it matched so perfectly for this particular design. So as I go ahead and continue to design and place my hearts, the reason why I was calling this a 2.0 is simple, because all of the original milk baths, including mine, are done with flowers, and it's an absolutely beautiful effect. But because I always have to do something different, spice things up a little bit, whatever you want to call it, I just like to have fun with it, and there's no reason why you can't do a milk bath without having to just use flowers. So here's a prime example, as this effect is just stunning and beautiful when it's completed. So now our tumbler is ready for another coat of epoxy. This does not need to be sealed, and we are ready to go right in with another coat of epoxy. And again, we're going to add in the Spectrum dye, the white, into this coat of epoxy. And whatever you do, watch how you put your caps on. That's why you saw a little bit of pink dye, but it doesn't affect my dye at all. So once I had this dye epoxy mix applied to my tumbler, I was very happy with the outcome. However, if you feel when you're done that you just did not get the milk bath effect that you were looking for, you can always repeat this step. I want to thank you so much for watching, and be sure to find me on TikTok under Rebecca Escott, Facebook at Everything Tumbler Tutorials for much continued learning. Remember, all links will be in the description for you below. And as with any coats of epoxy, make sure you use your heat torch to pop any bubbles you may or may not be able to see.